What should we do about a baby gift for my brother-in-law and his wife? We didn't get one from them when it was our turn, right? When I asked my husband Peter, he seemed to ponder a bit. Well, that was 4 years ago. I can't really remember, but I don't think we got anything either. So, we don't have to give them anything, right? Exactly. It did strike me as unusual for them. I'm Emmy. My husband and I got married 6 years ago, and we have a 4-year-old daughter. My brother-in-law and his wife got married around the same time as us, but they struggled to have children. Finally, they had their first child recently, which is why I was discussing with my husband whether or not to give them a baby gift. My brother-in-law is in sales, has a loud voice, and is quite assertive. He's well liked by his clients and apparently is very good at his job. He's the complete opposite of my quiet, office-working husband. Whether it's because of his job or just his personality, my brother-in-law occasionally shows up at our house unannounced, once or twice a month. However, he always brings a small gift and never fails to send us presents for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We've received various things from them over time. We didn't get a baby gift when our daughter was born, but maybe we should give them one this time? When I mumbled that, Peter responded, "The gifts are compensation for showing up without notice, and we also give them stuff for Thanksgiving and Christmas, so it's fine." My husband doesn't like his routine disrupted, so he's not thrilled when my brother-in-law suddenly comes to visit. You have a point. And so we decided not to give my brother-in-law a baby gift, and instead opted to simply call and say, "Congratulations." But that very night, my brother-in-law showed up at our place again. He said he had some free time because his wife Florence had given birth the day before yesterday and was still in the hospital. We scrambled to prepare snacks and a meal for my brother-in-law, and both Peter and I were a bit out of sorts. Only our daughter was thrilled, delighted by the sweets he brought and the loving attention from her kind uncle. It's not that Peter and I dislike my brother-in-law. We just don't like our routine being disrupted. Feeling jovial with a drink in him, he said, "Hey, we're supposed to get a baby gift too, right? We gave you guys one." "Huh?" Peter and I blurted out in surprise, exchanging a glance. Unaware of our reaction, he continued, "You know what would be good? A baby carrier. One that works for both boys and girls, starting from newborns. Florence says she wants an American one, but the ones popular with overseas celebrities look cooler, don't you think?" He showed us his phone as he spoke. I've raised a child, so I'm familiar with a variety of baby items. Overseas products look chic and are visually impressive, but the safety standards can be a bit different, and these carriers can be hard to use for petite women. My brother-in-law is a big guy who played rugby in college, but my sister-in-law is petite and slender. Brother-in-law, overseas brands might not be suitable for your petite wife. Instead of getting a unisex one, you might want to consider buying separate carriers. I couldn't help but offer some advice, and his face showed a bit of surprise. "Really? Had no idea. In that case, let's go with the American brand for Florence's baby carrier. I'll buy my own, so please send hers as soon as possible." He laughed heartily. That night, neither Peter nor I could bring ourselves to say that we hadn't received a baby gift from him yet. We both agreed that we hadn't received anything, but after being so boldly told by him that he had given us a baby gift, we started to lose our confidence. What should we do about the baby gift? I asked Peter, who pondered the question with a troubled look. It's the thought that counts, right? And he does love his daughter. It seems Peter is leaning towards giving a baby gift after all. In the end, we decided to give $300 as the baby gift. That's enough to buy a high-quality American baby carrier and still have some change left. As someone experienced in parenting, I believe it's crucial to try on items related to a child's safety like a baby carrier, so you can choose one that really fits. But Peter insisted. We should make it clear we haven't received anything. He seems quite firm on this point, and since it bothers me too, I'm glad he'll speak up. Next Saturday, Peter and I will bring a baby gift and some Jell-O for everyone to enjoy at my in-laws' house. The brother-in-law and his wife live with my in-laws, and my sister-in-law isn't planning to return to her parents' house for childbirth. I heard she was discharged on Thursday and is currently at her parents-in-law's home. In the living room, both sets of in-laws, my brother-in-law and his wife, and our family were all present. Peter hands the baby gift to my brother-in-law. My sister-in-law reaches over with glee and grabs the gift. My smiling sister-in-law said, "Thank you. You've given so generously as a thank you for everyday favors. The going rate for siblings celebrating is around $2,000, isn't it?" I was stunned, thinking how audacious she is. Both her attitude and words in taking the gift are just unbelievable. Peter, my in-laws, and even my brother-in-law were all taken aback. "Florence, that's rude," my brother-in-law softly reprimanded, but she didn't seem to care. "Well, I know you give a lot of gifts every time you visit Peter's house. We have to get something in return, otherwise it won't even out." Both Peter and the in-laws looked shocked, and my brother-in-law had a frown on his face. Is this how she really thinks? Peter and I exchanged glances. Come to think of it, it's mostly just my brother-in-law who visits us often. I then remembered we didn't interact much with my sister-in-law, but it's also inconvenient for us when my brother-in-law drops by unexpectedly. We never asked for gifts in the first place. I couldn't hold back my anger anymore. Before Peter could say anything, I blurted out, sister-in-law, just to clarify, we didn't receive a baby gift from you." I wondered if it would have been better if Peter had said it, but it was already out there. My brother-in-law looked shocked and turned to look at his wife. "Wait, I did give it to you, right, Florence?" My sister-in-law quickly looked away. Her behavior was clearly off. She quickly put on a smile and said, "Oh, I did give it. Maybe you forgot since it was a long time ago." I stated clearly again, "No, we didn't receive it." Peter immediately added, "I remember too. We definitely didn't get it." Father-in-law and mother-in-law looked puzzled, comparing us to my brother-in-law and his wife. After pondering for a bit, my brother-in-law said, "No way," and rushed upstairs. He returned shortly with several notebooks in hand. I always thought he was the sporty type who didn't care about details, but it turns out he's unexpectedly meticulous. Brother-in-law had recorded who he gave what and when, all in his notebooks. Brother-in-law, that's impressive. Caught off guard by my compliment, brother-in-law chuckled and said, "It's sales 101, haha. Look, right here." Brother-in-law presented the notebook to everyone. The entry was from 4 years ago, a few days after my daughter's birthday. Sure enough, it said, "Splurge $1,000 for Peter's daughter's baby gift. Asked Florence to handle it because I'm on a business trip." $1,000? Both Peter and I were shocked at the amount. No wonder brother-in-law was asking about the baby gift. "I thought it would be better to give it sooner rather than later, so I entrusted Florence since I couldn't deliver it myself." All I shifted to my sister-in-law. "See here, the next line says we received a baked goods set from a local bakery in return." Both Peter and I exchanged puzzled looks. But we haven't received any baby gift, let alone given any baked goods, I said, clearly perplexed. Brother-in-law nodded. Brother-in-law shot a glare at his wife sitting next to him. "Florence, what's going on here?" "Florence, please explain." Mother-in-law also pressed my sister-in-law. Snapping her head up, she exclaimed, "Giving $1,000 for a baby gift is just too much. I barely have any money to spend." I couldn't help but interject. Didn't you just ask for double the amount, $2,000 a moment ago? Seriously, Florence, all your part-time job money goes to your personal spending, brother-in-law retorted, but my sister-in-law wasn't backing down. That's enough. If you stop giving gifts and souvenirs to everyone else, we'd have more money. She started to tear up. Turns out my brother-in-law giving gifts not just to clients, but also to family and friends had not been amusing to her. Look, Florence, I don't spend that much. I keep records of who I gave what and how much it cost. I even get allowances from work for these expenses. I make sure not to go beyond my personal spending. He reasoned, but she remained stubborn. Even if it's just $100 or $200, I'd like to enjoy some luxury too, you know, she yelled. But you guys hardly contribute to household expenses. Your mom told me. Just $200 between the two of you. You can't be that broke. Florence, you should be making a decent amount, father-in-law pointed out. But my part-time job is just for a few hours, so it's a small amount, she tried to justify. Really, Florence? I see you leaving for your part-time job every day, from early morning till late night. That's why I've been doing all the cleaning, laundry, and meal preparations. What do you mean by a few hours? Mother-in-law gave her a stern look. Oops. Her face red, but it was too late. Well, that is... She stumbled over her words. Living with all of you is suffocating. I want to have more fun and live lavishly. I'm so stunned by her selfishness, I can't even speak. Is it true, Florence? You managed all the money beyond my spending allowance? Are you really giving only $200 to my parents? Didn't I ask you to contribute $2,000 from my salary? We're already doing them a favor by living here. Your dad is still working. They don't need that much. So you don't do any housework, you waste your part-time earnings and your husband's salary, and now you're stealing gifts too? Aren't you ashamed? I can't help it. I want to be the center of attention. She continues to throw a fit and shows no sign of apologizing. Brother-in-law let out a big sigh and asked, So, you're hooked on some guy you met at a club? Everyone looks at him, stunned by his revelation. My sister-in-law retorted, It's not a club, it was just a little party. I was shocked and blurted out, Sister-in-law, you've been cheating too? Did you know about this brother-in-law? I had my suspicions and looked into it. Turns out she was really cheating. I was impressed by brother-in-law's quick thinking. No wonder he's a top salesman. It turns out brother-in-law had seen someone who looked like his wife hanging out with a younger man while he was out on business, but he chose to brush it off, thinking it was probably someone else. But it seemed like she probably wouldn't have cared if it were someone else. Let's get a divorce. I'll calculate all the money you've squandered partying and on your affair, and you'll pay it back. Also, we're doing a DNA test for the kids. Brother-in-law looked at his wife sternly as he said this. Please, no DNA tests! My sister-in-law screamed, making us wonder if the child might actually be from her affair. Mother-in-law frowned and said, I'm disappointed in you, Florence. You're just awful. Father-in-law also made his anger clear, saying, What a selfish daughter-in-law you are. Don't ever think you're a part of this family again. My sister-in-law clung to Peter and me, saying, You guys will be on my side, right? I responded, No chance. Aren't you the one who stole our baby gifts? Why should we help you? Take responsibility for your own actions. Is that so? My sister-in-law sank to her knees, but it was too late. That's how, from the stolen baby gifts to her affair, it came to light, leading to brother-in-law filing for divorce. DNA results confirmed the child was indeed from her affair. Brother-in-law sought legal advice and began the divorce proceedings. Sister-in-law moved back to her parents' home with the child, and her parents covered both her wasted expenses and the settlement. Once she recovers her health post-delivery, she plans to start paying back her parents. And then, about 2 weeks later, brother-in-law suddenly showed up at our house again. He came to return the baby gifts he had reclaimed from my sister-in-law. We gratefully accepted them and took the opportunity to bring up something that had been bothering us for a long time. Brother-in-law, thank you for the baby gifts. We also appreciate the regular gifts for our daughter and how you always treat her so well. But if I may, your sudden visits are a bit inconvenient for us. We have our own schedules too. Could you please call ahead next time? Brother-in-law looked puzzled for a moment, but then scratched his head and laughed, saying, "Ah, I see. Sorry about that. I'll be more considerate from now on." After that, he started contacting us before visiting, which not only made our daughter happy, but also allowed Peter and me to enjoy a stress-free relationship with brother-in-law.